The Classic Tetris Monthly April 2021 Masters event featured something I've been wanting to see for a while, a player winning with a Tetris on the kill screen, along with a ton of other great moments I'll be breaking down in this month's recap. And this is something I've realized I should probably clarify explicitly at this point. If you want to watch the full VODs, the main broadcast will be on the Monthly Tetris Twitch page for 2 months after airing, and the side broadcast will be on Monthly Tetris 2 for 2 weeks. After that, there is currently no way to watch the full original broadcast, but we can still analyze the best moments here, so let's begin. The qualifying leaderboard was even better this month, with 10 players getting an average of over 1.1 million this time over their 2 scores. If you didn't watch the original broadcast, take a mental guess at who won with the Tetris on the kill screen. One hint, it's not Cheese, he wasn't playing this month. But regardless, the tournament was jam-packed with crazy moments right from the very first round. Blank defeated Joseph Saley in 4 games, with game 3 being decided by an insane edge of death Tetris. Alan swept Huff while at the same time missing a max out in game 1 by just 18 points. However, the absolute highlight game for me was Sam Finch versus Zafania Nenu. But before getting into the highlight breakdowns, I have a quick announcement and message to relay. If you've been following the CTM Discord, you know that there's now a prize pool for the Masters event starting in June, but I've been able to retroactively award the same prize to the 2 finalists from April's tournament as well, thanks to the sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN, which is running a special promotional offer on a 3-year deal. If you're unfamiliar with how VPNs work, basically they protect your data and hide your virtual location. Any data coming out of your device is first encrypted and sent to a VPN server of your choice from a bunch of different countries around the world, where it is then decrypted and sent to the desired destination. And there are 3 big reasons why somebody would use a VPN. The first is for privacy. A VPN protects your real IP address and other personal information from being exposed if you accidentally click on a malicious email or phishing website. The second is better geographical pricing, since websites can change the price of certain items, like your plane ticket to the next in-person CTWC, just because of where you live. With a VPN, you can avoid getting upcharged. The third would be for streaming, since there are a lot of streaming services that have shows that are region locked. So for example, if I want to watch Top Gear on Netflix, which is only available in the UK, I just go over to Atlas VPN, select the UK, and then bam, I can see it now. Atlas VPN also has a tool that monitors all the latest data breaches and allows you to check if your email address has been exposed so you can change your passwords before your accounts get compromised. They're currently running an over 80% discount on their 3-year deal at only $1.39 per month, which works on any device with a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you want to get the deal before it expires, check out the link in the description. So thanks again to Atlas VPN for sponsoring Tetris content. Alright, now let's get into Sam Finch versus Zafania Nenu. Sam and Nenu are locked in a rematch of their Classic Tetris World Championship set in the top 8, where Nenu swept all 3 games to go on to the semis. Sam has the upper hand this time around though, with a 2-1 series lead and a massive 188,000 point lead over 5.5 Tetrises. Even pace adjusted, that's an over 3.5 Tetris lead on the penultimate level. Nearly 100% of the time in the situation, the game's over, and Sam can coast to the finish. Nenu's gonna get a Tetris that decreases his score deficit but does nothing to the pace deficit. Sam is Tetris ready, on the verge of sealing the win, has to burn a single. No problem, he's still Tetris ready, just waiting, and there's the Tetris, almost a max out. Nenu gets another Tetris, but is still over 2.5 Tetrises behind in pace. Sam has a scraggly spire, and is just gonna try and play it safe and burn down, but it's not working out. Gets S-bursted at the wrong time. He's gonna throw a bunch of stuff to the right while waiting for good pieces for the left, and that completely buries his well. He doesn't have enough lines to burn down before the kill screen, can only build a dirty Tetris. But nope, just gonna burn into level 29, and suddenly Nenu's less than a Tetris pace behind. But he's running out of time. Only 1 line remaining before level 29. Gets the tug. There's a Tetris and a level 29. 1 more Tetris could take it. Nenu gets Tetris ready, goes all in for the long bar, not burning, and he tops out. The long bar comes right as he reached the top of the board. Nenu gambled on getting a long bar immediately on 29, but ran into a devastating 13-piece drought. So he is not the one who wins with a Tetris on the kill screen today. But it's insane that it was even this close. Nenu played perfect on the final 2 levels, getting 6 clean Tetrises in a row. However, in the end, Sam prevailed and went on to advance, getting a little bit of revenge for being ousted in the 2020 World Championships. But the next round was just as crazy. Sam got ousted by Alan, who now has an unbelievable streak of making the semifinals of his last half-dozen CTMs. And he continued to get the weird scores, missing a 1.1 million this time by 19 points. Dog and Pixelandy faced off in the CTWC 2020 finals rematch, match, with Dog winning in 4 games after a surprise early top out from Pixelandy. But even with all that star power, the best game of the round has to be between Blank and Tommy. This is actually a really cool matchup. Blank is an amazing survival artist. At one point he held the world record for longest drought survived in NES Tetris. And a big part of why he held the 100-line sprint world record for 3 months is his gutsy burning at the very top of the board. And Tommy was a bit of an unknown at the time, going by the very descriptive username NES Tetris Gamer. But he was definitely good. He hadn't played much in competition, but he'd been the #1 seed in the April Challenger circuit, and fought his way to victory to earn the number 16 spot in the Masters event bracket. And they fought all the way to a decider, and at the end of the game the scores are really close with 2 dirty boards. Tommy's going to be able to clean this up and stabilize his board with a few skims, but Blank has too much garbage to burn down quickly, so he's just going to build a dirty Tetris instead. Tetris ready, and there's a Tetris for Blank to take the lead, but Tommy's Tetris takes it right back. Blank stepping on the gas, he's Tetris ready again and is going to take back the lead with another Tetris, but Tommy is Tetris ready. Ooh, uh-oh, his parity isn't great and he has to create some holes and block off as well. Clearing this off could evaporate his small pace lead. And Blank takes the lead back with another Tetris. The Tetris ping pong continues. Tommy trying to burn this away as efficiently as he possibly can, and Blank is still pedal to the metal, another Tetris to build a 40,000 point lead. Tommy is clean, but he might have to go for a center well, and Blank takes a skim, risky board with tons of dependencies high up, but gets another dirty Tetris, but Tommy gets a center well Tetris, and suddenly Blank has a hole at the bottom of his Tetris well and misdrops. His options aren't much at this point. He can get this open, but that would only have a triple available in the well. Trying to figure out what he can do to stay alive, he sets up a delayed burn, but that means he's got to burn into the kill screen. Doesn't get the long burn in time. Still has the lead, but Tommy is gonna take it with a center well Tetris at the end of level 28. Even has a nice little T-spin setup waiting for a T, and he's gonna nail it. This is one of the most exciting deciders I've ever seen. And there's a Tetris for Tommy into the kill screen for the max out. The lead changed sides 6 times in the final minute. Got a top out after that miss J to the left. Didn't win with a Tetris on the kill screen, but still incredible performance, and he makes it to the semifinals, where he ends up facing the world champ Dog playing Tetris. Wouldn't you know it, Dog and Tommy fought all the way to a decider as well. At the end of the game, Dog has a small but significant 40,000 point lead, but in pace, they're practically tied. And even though Dog's screen looks like he's on level 28, he's actually still on level 27 and got an uncomfortable pit in the center, so he's just gonna set up some delayed burns to take care of that. Tommy has to block as well for a delayed burn too. Both players open it up, Tommy is gonna get a Tetris, but Dog still has the lead. However, he needs to set up even more delayed burns. His board is getting uncomfortable quick. All these burns will cost him Tetrises, goes into level 28, and oh, that L piece to the right was either a misdrop or setting up a very aggressive dirty Tetris. He's gonna opt away from that, just burn down, but meanwhile, Tommy has taken the lead. Dog needs at least 2 Tetrises to have a chance and only has runway for 2 Tetrises with 0 burning. He's got 1, but again, he can't burn without entering the kill screen. Gonna fill out the center perfectly, throwing stuff to the left, can't hold out much longer. There's the L piece and followed by a long bar. Dog gets a Tetris to retake the lead, but 2 seconds later, Tommy has gotten a Tetris to get the victory. In a double max out decider, Tommy upsets the world champ. He's gonna get 1 more Tetris for good measure. Incredibly, Tommy has fought his way all the way to the finals. And still, nobody has won with the Tetris on the kill screen. That's right, it happened in the finals. Tommy versus Tristop, let's go. Tommy takes game 1, and at the end of game 2, Tristop has around a 1 Tetris lead, but they are only 1/100th of a Tetris apart in pace. Tristop knocks down a Tetris, and Tommy with the gambling overhang encounters with a Tetris, and fills it perfectly with a T-piece, not wasting a single line. Tristop sets up a delayed burn, and now Tommy gets a Tetris to take a 3,000 point lead. And Tristop has too much material over as well, he can't burn, he'll need to go dirty for his final Tetris. The skim is gonna open it up for him, and gets it down the center into the kill screen. Tommy could take this with a Tetris, but gets droughted, has to burn into 29, triple, double, and gets a long bar over 6 high right for a Tetris on the kill screen for the victory. In the clutchest moment of his young career, Tommy wins in a double 1.1 million game to take a 2-0 lead in the finals. And he would defeat Tristop in 3 games to become the first Challenger Circuit winner to then go on to win the CTM Masters event. And this perfect run through 2 difficult events vaulted him, amazingly, into the number 3 spot on the ELO leaderboard, setting a new record for highest career win percentage with over 20 games played. And of course, I'll be talking to Tommy about his experience through all this and the kill screen Tetris, along with Tristop about some of his top moments in the post-game interviews coming right up. So I'm joined now by first-time CTM winner NES Tetris gamer. So for a lot of people, you might be an unfamiliar player. How did you originally get into NES Tetris?
I got into NES Tetris from watching the 2018 finals and 2019 finals in late 2019. I've been playing for more than 1 year.
You had quite the tournament. In your pivotal Game 5 versus Blank, you both had nearly identical scores and slightly messy boards in level 27. So Blank chose to build dirty Tetrises and you chose to burn down and go for a center well. So what was going through your mind towards the end of the game?
I was going for a clean but low board to try to go as much efficient as I can.
So how do you manage your aggression when you're neck and neck with your opponent right there at the end and you realize you need to go for Tetrises, but he might be going for as many Tetrises as possible too?
I try to go for as many Tetrises as I can while also keeping a clean and sloping board.
So in your finals versus Tristop in Game 2, you had an incredible 29 Tetris for the victory. So at that point, did you know you needed one more Tetris to win? And were you confident enough in your ability to get a long bar over 4 to 6 right on 29? Or was it more of a Hail Mary move?
I was watching the stream, so I knew that Tristop would most likely get a 1.1. And I was not confident, and it was more like a Hail Mary move.
So you've had an incredible meteoric rise on the Classic Tetris ELO charts. You're now ranked number 3 worldwide. Was there a point at which you started to become aware of your unusual game record?
I first became aware after Challenger Circuit when Pumpy Heart notified that I could get the highest win % rate.
So how do you think you've been able to maintain such a high win rate?
I've been practicing max out consistency for a few months now.
Do you have anything specific plotted out? Like these are benchmarks I need to get like every single time? Or does it depend on the game?
I go for the benchmarks that Strucky was talking about in your max out video.
Well, thanks so much for coming on and it was great to talk to you.
Thank you for having me.
Hey Tristop, so congrats on making the finals of the CTM yet again. With such a stacked field, it's an accomplishment every time to make it to the finals. So did you have a favorite game or match from this month?
My game against Broden Day was my favorite match. Broden has always been sort of a mental roadblock for me. I'm pretty sure every time I faced him in the past, he swept me. So it's kind of nice to beat him and also sweep him, return the favor.
Yeah, so in Game 1 versus Alan, the scores were incredibly close and he topped out and then you kept playing and were like on the edge of death and got a edge of death Tetris to survive before topping out. What was the delay like on the commentary? Did you realize you had won when you were in the middle of that dig, or when did you realize?
Okay, so for the most part, my computer has a really bad stream delay. So every time I know an opponent's score, it's usually after I die. When I topped out, I saw that he topped out, but I thought he would definitely be higher because I transitioned so low. But I won and it was just really shocked. I did not know I would win.
In the past few matches in the CTM main event, you've had a couple of Tetrises that were like literally on the edge of the stack. Have you essentially memorized at this point exactly how high you can go to still survive?
Yeah, so I've been playing the game for a long time, so I know my limits as a tapper. For the right side, on 19 speed, 11 high or above, I usually just don't go for it. I die if I go for them. And on the left, I can consistently hit 8 lefts, maybe 9 lefts. I don't think anyone focuses on if it just barely gets over. I just go for the tap, and then if it gets over, it gets over. So yeah.
I mean, it shows in your results. It was great to watch you again this past month and hope to continue seeing you as a competitor in future months. It was awesome. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
With all the crazy action on level 29 lately, it does feel appropriate to think about what should I call it now. I still like the term kill screen, but I gotta admit, I do like some of the new terms that have been batted around over the past year and a half. Thrill screen, skill screen, second transition. I'll have to think about it. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.